Welcome to another edition of GW Unspoken, where we discuss stuff we typically don't talk about but probably should. And today we're here talking about leadership and purpose in Season 4, Episode 7, 2 more to go, and hopefully get some nuggets of gold, whatever your position may be, whether you are a leader in your household or whether you're a leader amongst your friendship group where you have influence, or whether you are a leader within your workplace. And remember, leadership is not a noun. It's actually a verb. It's a doing thing. So there's so many people who think, oh, yeah, I'm not a leader. I don't have a title. That is not a leader. Let's regress a bit. That does make you in a leadership position, but does not make you a leader. And I've been listening to an audiobook at the moment from John C. Maxwell. It's the latest one. He's like the guru in leadership. Love his stuff. The 5 levels of leadership is awesome. He's now talking about the levels of leadership. So number 1 is just where you get, you have to be respected because you've got a title, all the way to number 5 where actually, you are developing leaders who are then developing leaders again. And it's a great little YouTube clip. There's a long version, a small version. I definitely recommend. There's a 12-minute version there, which is just gold. But he's also talking now, his latest audiobook is around high-level leadership around, do we always take the low road or do we take the high road to leadership? How do we get to become a leader? And do we step up to become a leader? Are we born leaders? And he talks about always high road leadership is about serving people, and I love that. And it is a verb. And I think it's who out there is talking about. I know that Simon Sinek talks a lot about that. He talks about leadership being a verb, a doing thing. It's like anything we do in life. We can talk the talk, but can we walk the walk? So leaders must have influence, and that's the number 1 thing. So it doesn't have to have a title. I know a teacher at school at the moment, really respected teacher, get along with her very well. She's been on the show before, but she's stepped down from a leadership position at the moment, but she's still a leader in amongst her peers, but also amongst the kids, and she doesn't need that title to show that. The other thing is that when you are a leader and you've got those hard, tough calls to make, your purpose must be bigger than fear. Otherwise, things aren't going to happen. So leadership is number 1, influence. That's what John C. Maxwell says. It's about influence, not managing people. But also when you've got that influence and when you've got people following you and you're afraid to make that next decision or afraid to step up, your purpose, your why, the reason why you do things must be bigger than your fear to conquer it. And I watched this great thing I showed to a life skills class the other day from Mark Matthews, a big wave surfer, and he talks about how if you want to get over any fear, because he has fear of getting up in front of people and talking, public speaking, which I reckon 49% of people do have, is your purpose has to be bigger than that. You actually want to have that voluntary exposure therapy, VET, to actually get ahead and do that. So your purpose must be bigger than your fear no matter what you do. The other thing that John C. Maxwell talks about is to always serve, apologize, listen. And it's very hard, I know it yourself, but you have those sort of conflicts at work or people are not on the same page or often people are down or they maybe suddenly they change their opinion or the way they talk and react to you. And it's very hard to go and be the better person and lead and always serve. But John C. Maxwell says if you don't apologize and if you don't listen and actually talk about the things or the values you do, then what happens? Otherwise, the world just goes to crap. Everything goes to crap. So if there's not leaders in the world who actually change that thought and that opinion, and everyone whinges and complains and bitches, I suppose, about other people, then the world's going to be like that. And it's so important, isn't it? It's so important to know that. And I think that's really tough because it's very easy to get the bandwagon around people who might be whinging, complaining about a boss or a principal or deputy or wherever you might be, CEO, because of an action to happen and it maybe affects you personally or the way you believe things should be going, your values and beliefs. But if we badmouth and do that and become part of that train of negative thinkers, that just spirals. And we talked about last episode we're 5 times more prone to listen to the negative and be buying into the negative or look for negative the way our brains are built compared to actually being positive. So we need 5 positive to 1 negative, but we can't get on that. So John C. Maxwell says we always serve others, we apologize, and we listen. Otherwise the world will be a crapper place. Crapper, I think that's the word, a worse place. The other thing he talks about too is making sure that you have something to give and make sure you're having the emotional capacity to give. And a lot of feeds are coming through at the moment about emotional capacity. How do you grow your emotional capacity, the way that you can bounce off the negative? Because it is affected by resilience. If you don't have good resilience or strong resilience, your emotional capacity will be belted, and that means you won't have the feeling, the emotions, I suppose that part of the brain where you actually connect with people to look after yourself first and make sure you're the right person or in the right mindset to help other people. So what have you got? Have you got something to give and have the emotional capacity to give? And the last thing I want to really talk about really quickly at the moment is that he talks about making sure that you have a gift to give, then give it. You know, complacency and a lack of growth is a leader's worst friend. If you have a lack of growth and you're not willing to grow, and there's plenty of people out there who think they know everything and are still going back to the old book. I can talk about teachers all day long because that's the field I'm in, education, but there's so many teachers who are living out the past of 20 or 30 years ago saying, well, look, I used to listen when I was a kid. Why can't these kids listen? There's a problem there. We just need to teach kids how to listen. It's not that people have changed. People have moved on. Yes, I believe in values. I believe in good communication. I believe in manners. That's whether you believe in God or not. That's a God-given right to have manners. It's number one thing we should all have. You know, treat other people like we want to be treated ourselves, a golden rule. But people are different. Their brains are different. You can't just expect the same thing we did 30 years ago. We can't stand up in front of a class, for example, and talk to kids and expect them to listen if we've got a boring PowerPoint. It doesn't work like that anymore. Kids are so wired up. Most of them are wired up. So if people aren't willing to grow and learn themselves, then there's going to be complacency. And the only person who's going to be affected by that is that leader, is that teacher, is that person who's trying to connect. So we need to continue to grow. I just love, I'm only 10 minutes from work here where I live, but I just love those little TED talks you can quickly chuck in the car and, yes, focus on the road, but actually listen to all of the things that people in the space, because most TED talks go for 15 or 20 minutes. It's short, sharp, few ideas, and I just love having these little nuggets of gold going to work because it just fuels your brain of going, yep, how can I actually analyze where I am? How can I analyze how I can help others with that? And look, I think we've talked about this before, but two really great books that I love were Skills with People, Personally Plus was another one. Actually, I'll give you a third one. Love Language is another one too. But I still remember the time when I must have been early 20s and just thought my way was the only way, working hard, thought that everything I worked well and worked hard, was happy to work hard, knew I wasn't the smartest person in the room, but thought my way was always the right way. And then someone said, you should read this. What do you read this book? And I said, well, I don't read books. I actually look at sports magazines. And they go, no, even you can read this book. And that was a bit of a kick in the guts. And I went, what? 90 pages or 92 pages, whatever it was. And it was called Skills with People by Les Giblin. And I'll never forget, I thought, I'll show this person, I'll read this book, no worries. And I read this book, oh my gosh, I just felt like giving myself an uppercut about how I've been treating other people and thinking my way was the only way. And I just thought that was a massive leadership journey for me to think, holy hell, I'm supposed to be leading people where I am. Even, you know, the students are coming, and I love teaching every single day, getting in front of these kids, got a lot of respect for them, no matter what their background is, what they bring to the party. But man, I just thought if kids were quiet in my room because I was nice and disciplined. And, you know, I remember saying to people, like, you know, kids in class, why are you getting up? Why are you walking to the bin for? Why are you sharpening your pencil without going to the bin and even asking me? You'll ask before you get out of your place. You don't just help yourself. And I thought, well, you know, these kids are quiet, they're well behaved. You know, 5 or 6 of them probably in trauma. Everyone was probably else just scared. They weren't actually listening to me. They were probably just petrified of my rules. And I still believe in order and structure and consistency and all that kind of stuff in routine in classes, don't get me wrong. But some of the things I just thought, just being a control freak, was the way that kids were learning, and I had a great class. I did not really connect with the kids, and Skills with People was just a game changer. Love Language is finding out what people react to, and then working out kids' personalities and also the staff around me. So there's no hidden secret. We have a life skills class at school at the moment, and we teach them all about these things, about how to be a better person yourself, and also then how to connect with other people, and that's the key. So we've got to look after ourselves first, make sure we are in the right frame of mind, have that emotional capacity so we can then move on and help other people. I want you to think about now, listeners out there, you're listening to this podcast, how does it resonate with you? How, in your life, I hope you're not just not palming this podcast off and saying, well, you know, I'm not a leader, so it doesn't matter. I haven't got a title. That is not leadership. Leadership is a verb. You do it every single day, the way you act, the way you do things. People are watching. So what are the things that you do right now that also build your emotional capacity, looks after yourself, have that resilience to keep going forward and serve, apologize, listen, give energy, all those things that leaders do, influence, and also show people a way of the way they should be living and learning? I'd love to know that. I'd love you to write in your feedback about what are some of the things that you're doing. And if you don't do that, don't write in feedback. That's fine, but have a think about it. Have a real good think about it tonight or whenever you listen to this podcast. How are you leading or how are you influencing people around you? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it a way that you can grow yourself so you can actually help others? Because look, if you don't like reading or you don't like listening to audiobooks to grow yourself and you don't have mentors around you, then the people around you are only going to get smaller as well, as in they're not going to have the values moving forward to attack the world as well. So if not doing it for yourself, if you know that people are influenced by you, do it for them. That's my suggestion. I used to hate reading and now I just can't get enough of it because the things you can learn, you can influence others and you see it working through other people's eyes, it just motivates you and it makes the world a better place. So here's a challenge. Here's a challenge for the journal. We've been talking about the journal this episode or through this season 4 with leadership and purpose. Number 1, here's the growth goal for you. Read Skills with People. And if you don't like reading, get an audiobook. It will take you like half an hour. The book will probably take you about maybe an hour, maybe 2. It's very, very short. It's all nuggets of gold. I think I've read it 3 times now. I still need to probably read it more. But if you read Skills with People, it will actually help you connect with other people. Second thing, after the growth goal, here's a list. Write down a list now of who you can serve and support. Who are the people around you that you haven't talked to, served, supported? What is something that you can actually get on paper and go, wow, here are 3 or 4 people I actually want to work with this week and just see how they're going, how you can help them. And then the feel good you'll get from that and seeing them grow is just exponential. It'll be huge. The third thing, how can you grow a gift? How can you grow a gift to share and serve? What is your gift? If I said to you right now, you've got 1 minute to write down what is your gift, your God-given gift that you have right now, what is it? And you can't just sit back and go, oh, nothing, I'm just average at everything, because I've tried doing that as well. What is the one gift that you have right now? And then how could you share and serve that? John C. Maxwell says that is our goal. Our goal in this world is if you've got a gift, you need to learn how to share and serve that so other people can be the beneficiary of that. And often when we see that through other people's eyes, like I said before, you can actually feel good and know that you're contributing to a better world. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of GW Unspoken. I'd love you to hear some feedback about, number 1, what you thought of the book of Skills with People. Number 2, who you can serve and support, not just in your work industry or your family. Who are some things, who people around you who you know are struggling? Look, there's heaps of people out there. I was lucky enough to get a haircut today and talk to a lady and straight away you could tell. I asked her probably 3 or 4 times, how's things going? Yeah, good, family. We talked about that. And then suddenly there was a 14-year-old daughter who struggles and the face didn't want to give that away. And suddenly just sort of gave some ideas, suggestions, support around what we're doing as a family, but also some other points of interest that she might want to contact with who can help her, not me, but someone else who I know is a respected member. And she was so happy to hear that support. What is your gift? What is your gift to share and serve to the world? Because you have a goal to do that. And I really hope that you can share it with the world, because if not, the whole world goes to crap if everyone's going to have that same attitude of just looking after themselves. I want to thank you for joining in for this episode and look forward to our next episode, which is our last one in episode 8 for Leadership and Purpose.